Kimberly Rice, and you are tuned into the Secret Sauce Marketing Tasting Show, the groundbreaking podcast for business bosses, professional women, and anyone who is hungry to learn how to create the career, business, and life of their dreams by charting their own course. Welcome everyone to a new episode of KLA Marketing Secret Sauce Marketing Tasting Podcast. Today we are so excited to welcome our dear friend and colleague Mark Halpert to share with us on our third series of podcast episodes on how to leverage LinkedIn for your business, for your life, and for all the cool kids who do it right. So I want to welcome you, Mark, to our program today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. We laughed through the first two. We'll laugh through this one. We had such a good time. But to come back 3 times to some of these podcasts is a real honor. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure because there's so much to talk about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to reiterate one question that I asked you in our first 2 podcast conversations together, just so we can get our listeners up to speed. And that is, please share with us a little bit about yourself, your professional passion, and a few insights into your professional journey.
Thanks. I'm a refugee from corporate America, left 19 years ago, never looked back. Yeah, I look back once in a while in the bad economic times. Started my business 2 days after 9/11. That's when I started looking back. Maybe I made this huge mistake. Kept going, persevered. First business was electronic payments for nonprofits, for-profits, for membership organizations, law firms, professionals, etc. Still do that, but in 07, 08, when the economy was bad, I started looking into LinkedIn about finding new clients, found that LinkedIn was the thing that best marries my skills. It's networking, it's connectivity, it's exuberance in what I do, it's showing the brand of who I am and how I'm different than my competitors. From there, I decided, wow, I can teach this too. This is fun. And I keep teaching people either on an individual coaching basis, which to me is the best fun because we really get into each other's heads, or in a group basis where I impart my education, but I have them come back and have a half-hour session with me afterwards. And that puts the rubber on the road. Then they really have to produce. So for me, it's about accountability. It's about delivering. I deliver 110%. I expect them to deliver back as well. It's all about why do you do what you do? If you can't tell the why, we talked about this before, then you're not talking about yourself well. You're just giving factoids.
Absolutely. Could not agree with you more. So let's get right into it, grabbing a hold of that part of your business model that is the LinkedIn expert. How do you show up for your clients and audiences as a teacher, trainer, advisor, etc.? And, how exactly do you help clients leverage LinkedIn for their own businesses?
Well, I firmly believe that you get no traction on LinkedIn unless you have a kick-ass LinkedIn profile. All right. That is not copy paste out of your law firm bio page. That is not copy paste your resume. That's wasting real estate. LinkedIn is a very valuable place where business people connect. They want to read about your story, your career story, where you came from makes you who you are today, whether they want to hire you today so you can both help each other in the future. So this is a very important part, but you can have a great profile, but if you're not active on LinkedIn, you're forgotten, you petrify. And don't be a petrified rock. That's just not who people want. So that means you have to add content, not just any content, but curate the best content you're reading and share it out there. Example, this morning I read an article in a magazine about what to do in these pandemic times when you feel like you're just kind of losing touch, when you just aren't able to get the traction, the satisfaction out of your job. The article was about celebrate every small win. make every small win a big win. And when the big wins come, they're even bigger to celebrate. So do that. And the article spoke to me because we're all vulnerable in that way. We're all missing the old days when we could go and have a drink to celebrate a new thing, or go out to dinner or lunch with the client to thank them in a way that would make it more personal. We can't do that right now. We're stuck on Zoom like we're doing right now. That's okay. Grasp it, massage it, and use it. So that means I curate material and I push it out there and I share it with a comment on top of it about why it's meaningful for me. So if you buy into me and the philosophy, the basis of what I talk about, and you follow me for the material quality that I put out there, frequent quality when I have quality to share, then you will read what I'm offering, and you will hopefully share it with other people, not to make me better, but to make you a source of new material to the people who follow you. It's iterative.
You know, I love that, Mark, because I, like you, are number one, we're super passionate about what we do and for whom we do it. We love our clients. We want nothing more than for our clients to be as prosperous and successful and fulfilled as possible in whatever their endeavors are. But secondly, there is information overload in our world. And I know as an information gatherer, you know, I can sometimes become overwhelmed. And I think that one of the values of having a LinkedIn a presence is to to help our fellow LinkedIn community filter through some of that information overload to what we find important, which in my view positions us as thought leaders, to cut through all the noise, which there is so much, and say, I saw this, or I wrote this, or it's, certainly not about us, but here's something that could actually help you make a difference in your life, your business, your job, your children, not children, but whatever your passion, purpose, and focus is. And I don't think, in my experience, that most people on LinkedIn really get that. That it's just another thing to scroll through, like, say, a Facebook scroll, where you see the most mundane and, I don't even know what other adjectives, mundane and senseless.
Pedestrian.
I was just like, oh my God, really?
Well, like on Facebook, as you're going through Facebook, and the same for LinkedIn, and the same for whatever social media you're using, there's certain people that you follow.
Yes.
Certain people that you say, this is a great man or woman who really appeals to me. And everything they put out there is the quality, and I get them, and they get the type of things I want to read. And there's some you just read once in a while. All right, first group would be Seth Godin. Love Seth Godin.
Yeah,
Love the things he says. There's so much wisdom in what he has evaluated and what he's put back out based upon what's churned through his head. I have had the very great experience of meeting him and talking to him. It's been amazing. So I follow him. I repost his material when it's especially good. So it's good. It's good every day because it comes to me every day. But once in a while, there's something that's so phenomenal, and I post it. And people who aren't aware of him, and there still are, then they say, oh, Mark's posting something from Seth Godin. That's really interesting. And I like what Seth Godin wrote. I'm going to start following Seth Godin. Then they're benefited. Then they're enriched. And I'm the fulcrum. I appreciate that.
Yes.
You got to know when to share and what to share. You can't share everything. And the flip side of that is I just don't only share LinkedIn related material, though I'm a LinkedIn coach and trainer. I share other material. One thing I shared the other day, something that came across my email, was a article from my local water company about what to do when you reopen your company after it being dormant, the water lines being dormant for 2 months, 3 months, and how to flush it through. I never thought of this. I figured there must be somebody out there who'd find it interesting. Man, that thing went all over the place.
Really?
And people I don't even know were thanking me for it. So it's just not LinkedIn stuff.
Right.
Admittedly, a lot of what I share has a LinkedIn twist, or I will make a LinkedIn twist out of it. And the other thing is, as you know, as I've talked here before, I do a daily blog post every weekday out of my blog that may not be directly LinkedIn related, but it's something that I've written about, and then it gives me a reflection on things to do in LinkedIn that has a parallel. So I did one today. I do one every day.
What was yours today?
Today it was, this is crazy. This is really nuts. And it's gonna post in a couple of weeks. I got an email from somebody who wanted to invest my retirement money. I don't know who the heck this guy is. It was, dear first name, last name, potential new client. That was my name. Well, my name is not first, and my family name is not last name, and I am not potential new client as a result. I couldn't believe what a marketing fail that was. So I wrote a post about, if you are expecting people to understand what you're all about, you better at least be able to address them for something that's interesting to them. And that's about having a great LinkedIn profile, because you know what happens? What I did with this post, with this email, I trashed it because it wasn't important. It was insulting. And so if you look at somebody's LinkedIn profile and you're not interested, you don't buy in like 15 seconds, you're gone. You never come back. And that's a loss.
Well, if even 15 seconds, right?
Yeah.
If even 15 seconds. So, yeah, I feel very strongly about this as well. I mean, LinkedIn, you know, social media platforms, as we've seen how, I'll just mention briefly about Twitter. I mean, if ever there's been a life effacing illustration of the power of viral communications and thoughts, it has certainly been on Twitter, and how a certain someone has leveraged it to tens of millions and millions of people. So it, you know, and I'm sure, you know, the other platforms are the same. It's, you know, resonating with your audience and providing your version of value to your community. So
And I want my community to benefit from the experience I've had by working with my clients from their experience they've had.
right.
It's iterative. I keep using that word because it's layered, it's veneered,
Yes.
it's on top, on top, on top. It doesn't erode. Business to me, big business, corporate business, eroded my skills. Being on my own builds my skills. So I came in with a pocket full of skills. I use those skills every single day. If not all of them, some of them. I'm doing that right now with you.
Sure.
And if I read something that adds to my already generated skills, I figure someone else out there needs to know this as well. But I'm not going to send everything that I read. It's just, some of it's just garbage, and some of it is, I knew that. Okay, good. Let's keep moving. And the other is, this is so powerful. This is such a great article, like the one I posted today. So I post it, and I let it sit for a while, okay? So I post my comments about why the article's great. I post a link to the article, and I let LinkedIn put the little graphic that comes from the article, and I post 3 hashtags that go with the article. They don't always reflect the article. I might want to take this post and get it to the hashtag populations interested in something tangentially tied to it. But I always, or at least try to always, end the post with, what do you think?
Right.
Does this agree with what you've seen?
Yes.
How has this varied from your experience? A call to action.
Call to action.
This is what we're talking about today, is gesturing.
Yeah.
I kicked off the first gesture. What do you think?
Yeah.
And what comes back? Like, or nothing. All right? I'd rather have nothing than like. And people say, you got a bad attitude. Let me tell you why I'd rather not have like. Because I don't know what you liked about it.
Right.
I'd like to know, I would love to know, what made you take an extra calorie of energy away and click like. Because I can teach a robot to click like on anything on LinkedIn, and you'll never know it was a robot instead of a good human thinking person, professional. Why did you like it? Please tell me.
You know, you and I are cut from the same cloth, because we actually think about things, and we act with intention for how we move through our lives. And sadly, in fact, I would say tragically, so many people do not. And so it's a wake up call. I love the new the new cool kid word. Are you woke?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Okay, so I digress. In
Okay.
previous podcast episodes, you and I have spoken about how to leverage a LinkedIn profile or account, and why that's important, and how to most productively and for future gain populate and build out to the max a LinkedIn profile. In our second episode of our podcast series, we spoke very passionately about what to do after you say I do to
Right.
accepting a LinkedIn request, which is massive because so many people just accept your LinkedIn connection request and do nothing, not even say, oh, it's great to be connected. But today we're going to bring another layer in our series about how to be a decisive enthusiast, a LinkedIn enthusiast, and talk about gesturing, a topic that I absolutely adore. I cannot wait to talk about this. It is so critical for moving the needle of meaningful network expansion and cultivating, quote, IRL, in real life relationships that are more easily converted into business relationships. So I can't wait to chat about this. But first, Mark, I want to ask you to respond to a question that I hear so frequently from so many other business professionals. Here it is. Quote, I'm so busy in my day-to-day taking care of business. LinkedIn seems like just another online resume. It's like people collecting. Why should I be active on LinkedIn, and how will it really help my business?
Well, got an hour? I'd be glad to talk about that. All right.
Top three things that come to your mind.
Top three things. If you are looking for a true numerical ROI on LinkedIn, you're in the wrong place. There is no, and I'm working with a guy right now who's passionately trying to get the ROI out of me about if I coach him, what's he going to get in return? And I respond to him like, I'm your tennis coach. I'm going to teach you how to serve. I'm going to improve your swing. You're going to go out and practice. If you win game sets or matches, you did it on your own. So why do you need to be on LinkedIn? Because if you're not on LinkedIn, you don't exist in today's business world, okay? And if you exist poorly on LinkedIn, you may as well not exist at all as well. If you're going to copy paste your resume or your bio on your website to LinkedIn, you have wasted everybody's time and effort, because they probably already looked at your website and by the time they get to your LinkedIn, or they probably looked at your LinkedIn by the time they get to your website. So why make them read the same thing twice? Show them you have passion. Now, I'm not saying passion like you and I have. I'm saying just show them your heart's beating. Show them you know your stuff. And the only way that people buy or put you on the short list to consider to buy is when you beat the competition. So when your competition looks dead and you look alive, that's one step in your favor. But you got to look aliver, amazinger, as I say. Everybody's amazing, amazinger than the competition. And if you're not willing to put the time into LinkedIn, no one's willing to put the time into you. So what's your problem? That's not brand marketing. You're coming across as an automaton.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get off the soapbox, and I evangelize a lot about this stuff because I really believe it.
Of course. And thank you for that. I love you bringing voice to that. This is a kind of iteration of what I say constantly to clients, to business colleagues, to networking partners, etc. Because I'm asked this question all the time. Well, I don't really see the point of LinkedIn. I'm like, 675 million people are on LinkedIn. I'm sure your clients are one of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. At least one client is willing to look at you on LinkedIn and maybe even buy from you. And if they buy from you and you win a piece of business off LinkedIn, you are hooked for good. You will always understand how important LinkedIn is, but no one's going to buy from you unless you have a great LinkedIn profile. So I'm wagging my finger. You can see it, but the people listening can't. But you can hear the wind go by. I am so passionate about this. So you can have a great LinkedIn profile, but if you're not pinging on their radar screen on a regular basis with high quality content, it's as if you've disappeared. So you have to remind them not only that you're alive, but that you're thinking, but that your thought leadership is worth following. So there are ways to do that. So I go back to a LinkedIn article, a long form article, and you have the link, and I hope you can put this into the podcast somewhere. It's a link to a video of the Japanese boys versus the German boys soccer team. No language in between. They do not speak each other's language. The Japanese boys lost. It was a national affront to Japan. They felt the shame of losing for Japan. You could see it. They were also personally, of course, embarrassed. But the German boys walked up to the Japanese boys, and you got to see this video. You've got to. And if you don't cry, you have no heart, because you see these boys embracing. One boy in particular from Germany is patting everybody on the back and on the top of the head, and all these things without language. That's the gesturing. So take it to the LinkedIn twist. You are giving of yourself in language about a topic that you want other people to see that they've never seen. So it's an important aspect of what we do, because the more you're recognized as reliable purveyor of quality, the more people are apt to refer you because they believe in you. You are consistent. That's the type of vendor everybody wants to buy from. That's the type of consultant everybody wants to learn from. That gives you a head start over your competitor. So it's not liking. There's no language in liking. There's no reason in liking. Share a comment.
Yes.
Share the article with your comment overlaid so that everybody you're connected to sees it. And everybody they're connected to can share it beyond, and it goes viral. Yeah, it's a terrible word these days. It goes beyond. And I've done articles and I've done posts, and people have sent them around the world, and they've come back to me 6 months later in foreign languages that I can't read or understand, and I get them translated by people who speak the language, because I'm lucky I can find these people, and they tell me that things like, you told me something here I would never know about had I not seen it on LinkedIn. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh,
I couldn't
wow.
believe that came. That made me feel so good. And I tell this story now 8 years later because it was so powerful to me.
So powerful.
You can do that. Did that get me business? Absolutely not. But it gives me stories. It gives me depth and breadth of what I do. So as I go speak, I use that story, or I work it into my writings. I write my butt off. I talk about things that are important. Not everything's a home run, but often I'm hitting hard, because it's important to talk about your professional aspects.
Amen. You know, one of the things that, just to comment on that, which is absolutely a 1,000% agree. I always say, don't take the lazy woman's way out. If you extended the 1 calorie to click the button like or celebrate or love, then how much more energy and time is it going to take to write out 50 characters?
Right.
This really resonated with me. This is so valuable. This is really great information. Oh my God, I never thought about it this way. You know, thank you for sharing this. This is so insightful. Really doesn't take a lot of time.
You want a hack for that?
Yeah.
Create an email and leave it on your email server, or a Word document, leave it on Word with a bunch of these comments, and copy paste. It's so easy out of the Word document into LinkedIn. But the number of keystrokes it takes to write, bravo, Kimberly, job well done. Or, great job, Bill. They're lucky to have you. That just should come out of you. It should seep out of your pores.
Yes.
If it doesn't, sometimes you got to really think about what you're going to say. Sometimes you want to be pithy. Sometimes you want to be fun. It depends upon the context. But take the time. People appreciate the time. Please don't send a canned, congratulations, Kimberly. You know what they did. They clicked the little button. Unfortunately, look, I don't work for LinkedIn, so I can be pretty objective here. They've dumbed it down. They've dumbed it down so it's click, 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 click. Click an icon with little clappy hands, or click a congratulations, Kimberly, or whatever, or thumbs up. Come on, give me a break. That's not business. Emoticon face. I don't do that. If I do that, it's someone's taken over my account, and so you'll know how that all works. So give of yourself, because we're here to help each other.
Well, that's right there.
Collaborating.
That right there is the nugget. It's something that I teach across all platforms, every audience, developing, articulating service to others.
There you go.
It's not about us. I'm hitting my chest. Nobody can see that, but I'm hitting my chest because we get so jammed up with ourselves, and it's all about me and the self-focused, and that's a whole another series of podcasts. But when we adapt and embrace the concept that we are here to be in service to others in our business, yes, in our business, we are in services, right? We are in professional services. So, our client success is our success as a result of our intellectual capital of serve and our heartfelt service mentality.
And let's share the success.
Right.
Let's enjoy the success together. And don't be afraid to talk about your successes. You obviously don't want to say something that's out of place, but you want to talk about it. For example, that article that I talked about that I posted today, I mentioned that I won a gig, 2 gigs actually, to do speaking engagements, and it took a year until they agreed to hire me. That's okay. I'm getting comments back, things like, tell us about it, where can we sign up? So it's sort of dripping in the concept that I'm going to do this. If you want to hear it, you can sign up. Now, we haven't set up the website yet. It's not until September, but nonetheless, I'm telling people what I'm doing. They're sharing what I'm doing and want to do it with me. It's about bringing them all along together.
Yes, absolutely. It's a collaborative partnership. And I think particularly in our world today, and we've seen it play out in the most horrific ways over these last months, us, others. Us, others. And if it's not us, then it doesn't matter.
Right, right.
But we know, all of us know someone in that other category. And so it's a mindset. I teach this constantly. It is the mindset of sharing, caring, service to others in our businesses, in the context of our businesses, which really does ratchet down when you think about, however we show up in a public forum, whatever the platform, our objective and mindset should be, how can I be the greatest value for something greater than myself in service to others?
Yeah, if you can't talk about how you can help other people on your LinkedIn profile, you wasted your time.
Yeah,
no one's going to buy into it because you're expecting people to think that for themselves. And unfortunately, we're just a little too attention deficit right now to think for ourselves. So you got to hit them between the eyes and tell them, this is what I can do for you. And this is what I've done for others. So if you look at my LinkedIn profile, much of my profile, at least the introductory section, is quotes that other people have sent me from sessions and work that I've done with them. So it's not about Mark saying, this is what I can do for you. It's about people saying, this is what you did for me. Right. So I've turned the whole concept on its ear. And I think it's more powerful because I could tell you all day long how wonderful I am. You get really tired of that. I would rather other people tell you the work and the benefit I've had on their sales team, on their law firm, on whoever and whatever they're trying to do individually when I coach them. And they come back to me with quotes. The greatest quote I can have is, after I had your session, I went home and looked at my LinkedIn profile and I was horrified. I have a lot of work to do. Oh yeah, I love that because that means I've spurred them on to do something greater.
Yes.
That's what we're here to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's always the more impact, influence, and along with that third eye is more income. So if you address the impact and the influence, the income will come.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you like it, you failed. You failed the test. If you're listening to this podcast and you love this podcast, or even if you just like it a little bit, tell Kimberly and I why you liked it. Are we asking too much? It's really not that hard. Tell us what one tidbit, what nugget you took away from this that you can do better for yourself. I have challenged you. Tell
Yes.
me. Tell
Yes.
Kimberly what
Yes.
you love about her series. That's what makes us go.
Right.
And tell us how you've parlayed that into something beneficial for your business. That's what makes you go.
Right. Exactly. It is that wonderful circle of that universal law of the karma and the law of attraction is that we attract to us what we put the highest energetic vibration towards, and that is where we put our focus and our thought. So I absolutely, once again, Mark, I love our conversations. I love spurring one another on. We are so incredibly passionate about what we do because we love helping other people. It's just as simple as that. I mean, we have bottled our unique genius over years and decades of experience and learning, teaching, coaching, training, etc. And what we have, we know because of the feedback we have, is it is priceless because it helps transform people's lives and their thinking to do better. And I think about, I never say those words without thinking of my wonderful, wonderful mentor and poet. And I wish I had known her personally, but I did get to meet her, and that is Dr. Maya Angelou.
Sure.
Oh my God. One of her most famous quotes and teachings is, when we know better, we do better. So I often end that at my training sessions of, business women professionals or business audience. I'm like, so consider yourself informed, consider yourself knowing better now. That's my benchmark of success in the context of my professional speaking circuit is I want you to leave with at least 2 nuggets of actionable information that you can implement into your business life career today. And when I know you've done that, then I know I've done my job.
And actionable and interactive are the key words here, because we can teach you and you're going to walk out that room and you're never going to remember anything we taught you unless you actually practice it. As you gesture it, and then if you go beyond gesturing with words and you then write your concept and your ideas into an article, an original free-form article that adds to the value of what the business community is talking about, you've gone even farther than gesturing. You're actually adding to the body of knowledge. Yeah. Don't be afraid. I have so many clients, professionals and otherwise, who say, I don't think anybody really wants to know that or really would be interested in that. Well, you won't know until you put it out there. Right. And you won't know how really interested they are until they react. And if you see something, react to it. Just don't like it. Yeah. Put why their original thought resonates with you. So I'll keep going back over this theme, and I talk about this all the time. So don't like this podcast. Love it and tell us why.
Yay! All right. Yeah.
Okay, I will definitely come off the soapbox now.
Okay, Mark. As I do with, and in each of the times that we've spoken, because I love to do this, and I respect and value you so much, and personally and professionally. But I certainly want to give our listeners every opportunity to connect with you possible. So I'm going to ask you in a moment to give us those informations, but I would be remiss if I did not allude to something even bigger that I know that you have to share. So please, Mark, share with us anything additional that you feel like our listeners would find value with specifically.
Does that sound like we set this up ahead of time? A little bit, okay. But that's what we do. That's okay, and I thank you for being so generous with that. We just got the approval to do the 2nd edition of my book for the American Bar Association called LinkedIn Marketing Techniques for Law and Professional Practices. It'll be not a total rewrite, but enough has changed in 2.5 years on LinkedIn, and enough has changed in my head and my practice so that I can add better to than what I wrote. And I thought the book was pretty good to start. Now to be even better, I have already have a chapter in there from the 1st edition on ethics. Well, things have changed in ethics, so Carol Greenwald is going to rewrite that chapter. Plus, I'll have 2 new chapters, one written by a woman in legal marketing in Toronto, who found my book in the Toronto Public Library, called me. We've done a series of podcasts and collaborations. So she's going to write about LinkedIn as part of your legal marketing package. And then another woman, Lori Freiberg, who is a recruiter in Palm Beach area, Florida. She recruits lawyers because a lot of lawyers are in the revolving door. And how does LinkedIn help a recruiter place you in a better position? And how does the hiring firm see you better on LinkedIn? So it's written for lawyers, but it'll also be written for professional practitioners of all sorts, architects, financial planners, wealth managers, financial analysts, all the other people that are out there that are not in the manufacturing world, basically. Anybody who's a consultant, for example. So I'm real excited. The book will come out in about a year, about May of next year, but I have a very soon deadline to get the whole thing done in November and haven't even started. So I'm moving forward here.
Wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
I cannot wait. Thank you for sharing that with us. And to our listeners, if you've not read Mark's first book, I'm going to, in the comment section, when I post this on LinkedIn, I will include a link to where you can find and buy Mark's book, because I haven't read it. You know what, people, if you are not applying the principles that Mark so eloquently expresses and details in great detail in his book, then you really have no excuse to say that you don't know.
But don't wait till next year to buy the second edition. Buy it now.
So again, Mark, thank you so much for joining me today. I always love our conversations, and and how we weave in our own personal takes, and with the huge nuggets of information that people, our listeners, can act upon to improve not only how they show up on LinkedIn, but their personal brand, their thought leadership, their demonstrating expertise. These are all layer upon layer upon layer, how they engage and gesture with their community and to demonstrate their value. It does not need to take a lot of time. It just takes a little bit of brain power and planning, and oftentimes being in the right mindset.
And the more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
And the writing doesn't come natural to people, but the more I write, the more fun I have with it, because it can be my personality. So you would ask earlier about how to find me, if I could jump into that. You can find me on LinkedIn, of course, great place to find me. www.linkedin.com/in/Mark Halpert, MarkHalpert. You can find my website, connect2collaborate.com. And if you look in the headings, you'll find the blog called LinkedIn Nuggets. And if you subscribe, you'll get a LinkedIn Nugget at 8 a.m. Count it on your watch, 8 a.m. every business morning. I might take July 3rd off. I might take a couple of days off because the boss says it's okay. But pretty much I'm there all the time.
Oh, God bless you. That takes such dedication and resolve.
It really does.
I was on a big roll for a while to post every day. And obviously, for those folks who don't know, you can schedule your posts, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
So
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, for the 8 o'clock. You can schedule your posts. So one little hack is you can create a number of posts as far as pushing information out and not necessarily just responding. But you can do that periodically. Once or twice a month, you can schedule it. So you don't have to actually be right on top of your LinkedIn account, and you can have it done for you, DFY rather. So, but let me thank you again. Thank you, our listeners, for maintaining your interest. And this is so full of information. Absolutely reach out to Mark and I at any time. LinkedIn, our website, of course, our KLA Marketing, klamarketing.com. Has lots of information and articles that helps you build your business and show up in a very bold way in the professional services space. And of course, Mark just shared with you how to connect with him. And so until next time, and there will be a next time, we will come with another topic. I don't know, because
I've got one of mine already.
So there's always so much to learn for those people who are ready to receive. And one of my favorite sayings, not original to me, of course, is when the student is ready, the teachers appear.
I like that.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're ready. So thank you again. It's for another episode of KLA Marketing's Secret Sauce Marketing Tastings. Until next time.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.